Ah. Oh, God. That's going to be a hell of a counter, Omega Legion. Okay, now that I've had my 14-hour, didn't actually get a lot of rest nap. I call this my abode, but I hardly spend any time here. I return only for meditation. While physical wounds can be healed by replenishing one's ether, you can't preserve your form if you lose sight of yourself. Such is the risk inherent in consuming another's soul. It dilutes your sense of self, alters you inside and out. To guard against this, I meditate, visualize who I am, in a place all my own. Interesting. FF7 actually does a really good job of establishing Sephiroth during that entire arc, because yeah, because I agree. That's not the way, but it's definitely a way. First of all, you gave us an ally who is just a ridiculous badass. Although that can lead to some soft locking. Not permanent soft locking, but we've done that on camera. The second way they establish Sephiroth, and they do this a lot with Sephiroth, it's one of the things they do best about him, is they show the results of him rather than showing him himself. That's a very Sauron approach to designing your villain. We don't actually see Sauron or Sephiroth all that often, but we see the consequences of his passage, and it's awesome. Yeah, Midgar Zormer being impaled on a tree is going to be positive-worthy by itself when we get there. It's a wonderful image, and it does a great job storytelling-wise. This is the heart of my domain. Normally it's deserted, but you and yours have drawn everyone out. I don't recall this statue, though. However it came to be here, I certainly didn't wish it. And yeah, to go back to what I said earlier, since obviously you hate me, Gigapudding, and I don't blame you, because I'm very hateable, worthless, terrible, and awful. I'm tired. But negative character establishment isn't actually a bad thing. Warfing is negative character establishment done badly. That's the simplest definition of what warfing really is. And to explain that statement a little bit, so you can draw a symbol, or you can draw everything but the symbol. So you never actually see the symbol, right? Instead, what you see is all the stuff around where the symbol should be. That's negative establishment. It's when you do everything around a character or around a setting piece or an empire or whatever, and that establishes it in its absence. Does that make sense? Or you can have Sephiroth show up and be like, I'm super powerful, and just like knock over Barrett or something, and Barrett's like, oh, I'm dead. And Sephiroth's like, oh, I am super powerful, and then he leaves. That would probably be warfing. Barrett's that's not perfect, but that would still be a really dumb scene, so that would probably qualify. To walk around with her like that. You are her minion, then. You know I don't take minions. He has questions, and I want you to answer them. Golbesh? I don't know that one. Only Skaithok. Ah! So when she let us beyond the veil, I grew scared and fled. I've been here since. I don't know anyone else, nor do I wish to. That's all I can tell you. Skaithok was a powerful voice who ruled a vast domain. Yeah, I know. I've done that raid. That was a long time ago, though, so I doubt she has any connection to Golbez. Yeah, the Vok reference. I mean, it makes sense that they would tie into the one of the biggest void things they've done story-wise this whole time, which was that entire raid series. I wonder if we'll encounter Diablo as part of all this thing. Although we arguably shouldn't. But, moving on. I mean, he does a legit job of an Omega Legion. Which is funny, because they got a good voice actor back in FF4DS as well. Stay away from me if you don't want to be eaten. Stay away. Golbez. I've heard that name before. I remember. Always speaking of a great crusade. I don't know what it is, but it sounds delicious. A crusade, you say? From whom did you hear this? Farfarlo. He's a minion of another minion. Went on and on about the terrible things he saw. Perhaps Farfarlo can tell us more. Ugh. Copy wrong! Sorry. Yes, although it didn't really show anything, but yeah, July. You're one of the mortals, is it true? When you die over there, you really die? So it is, so it is. What brings you here, then? Ah, yes, Golbez. He seeks strong minions to grow his army, so I hear. But recently he stopped doing that. Instead, he devours all. Perhaps he's gathered enough fodder and is now intent on bolstering his own strength. A sure sign he's about to make a move. Satisfied with what you've learned? Let's step away before you become too tempting to resist. Everybody thirsts after the Warrior of Light. Seems the rumors of Golbez reach even my remote domain. Fair to assume he's gathering strength for his crusade, whatever that may be. But I must say I wouldn't have guessed that Farfarlo once fought in Golbez's army. It's a miracle he survived serving an Archfiend. Final Fantasy I was straight up D&D. It was. It like 1-to-1. Copy-paste. I would say more likely we'll finish the game tomorrow. I still have to finish several aspects of auditing, which is going to take several hours, and we are still on only the second of 7 MSQ patches. Farfarlo is the weakest among us. Constantly in fear of being devoured, he seldom consorts with others. He's only comfortable with Siriato. He's a fellow coward who runs the instant he senses a threat and won't stop until he's exhausted. When their hunger grows too intense, they feed on each other's ether, such is their relationship. But I ramble. Then I'll come with you. He's less likely to hide that way. Meanwhile, elsewhere. And they play the song whose title is Meanwhile, Elsewhere.
Not only did the mortals conquer Troya, they defeated Scarmalione. I struggle to believe it. They're very small, my lords. They were aided by one of our world, who transformed Scarmalione's soul into crystal. Crystal? This one speaks of Memoria. Now there's something I've not heard for an age. It'll bring a pang of nostalgia to my breast and a tear to my eye.
Okay, I like that accent for Cognizant.
If the very notion wasn't absurd! Lifted our gun, drowned in darkness. As were we all.
And yet Scarmalione still does not answer. Were he alive, he would have returned by now. Weakest though he was, his ability to regenerate was without peer. If this account is true, if a Memoriat has survived, they cannot be suffered to live.
Leave this matter to me, Lord Golbez.
Oh, by the way, we're going to do an 8-man very soon.
I, Barbaricia, shall strike down any who pose a threat to our plans.
'Tis true, you are a proven commander, well suited to leading an assault.
And when I have succeeded, I would beg a boon of you.
What do you desire?
The dragon's ether. All that remains.
The insolence. Know your place.
With respect, my locks are free as the wind, without incentive to sway them. I know not whither they will blow.
Boldly spoken. I trust you will not disappoint me.
Upon this flowing hair and my immortal soul, I will not fail.
Then go and impress upon these interlopers the futility of defiance.
My lord.
At this point, I have no real preference. I still need to judge Black Mage, because I still haven't. But I don't want to do Black Mage and an 8-man, to be honest. I don't want to be a load there. I will admit to my shame that that's pretty much exactly what's going to happen, because Black Mage's rotation is a thing. Yeah, also, we're fighting Valvalus, so it's probably going to be a lot of movement because, you know, wind. Oh, yeah, I did Giga, and I never figured out the rotation. So, and I just need to emphasize there for just a second. I don't want to clown on Black Mage for a moment, and you can insult me for this if you want to. I'll accept that. But every single class in the game, I've been able to do one dungeon, one boss, or one raid with, and grasp it like that. Figure out where it's going, how it's going, and what to do with it. I probably haven't figured out how to min-max or optimize yet, because duh. But I was able to just kind of chunk right into the class like that. I haven't figured out Black Mage yet. And yeah, there's two really big aggravations with Black Mage. The first is the obvious, that its rotation changes like every 10 levels, which is just its own aggravation. But the second is the cast bar thing, and I know that sounds dumb, but it really is the problem. Because, as was just pointed out by Rax, if something dies while you're casting at it, then congratulations, you've just wasted however much time you spent casting on that one particular thing. So that sucks. And of course, if you have to move for any reason, that sucks. It is interesting to note that while, for example, Summoner, or even White Mage have cast bars, they tend to lean a lot more on mobility than Black Mage. Now, saying Black Mage is more mobile than Red Mage is one of the most insane things I've heard today. And I heard something today I'm not going to repeat because it's a political joke, but it's still the most insane thing I've heard today. Because Red Mage is awesome about its mobility. Red Mage allows you to weave movement in between casts, especially because of the dual cast nature of it. And that's ignoring the fact that a full, I'd say 2/3 of your rotation is completely mobile, at least at 90. But I digress. Point is, Black Mage sucks swords, and anyone who likes it is dumb and wrong and stupid and Hitler. What do we got? Farfarolo keeps the fringes of my domain this way. No, exactly, Omega Legion. You know what Black Mage is? XIV from Dissidia. The Void Sent don't answer to a master. They can do as they please. But all must answer to their hunger and seek out prey when they need ether. Except Farfarolo and Suriato, though. They are content to take from one another. Barring an incident, they dare not venture out. When he takes flight, Suriato will not seek such shelter till he is utterly spent. Farfarolo, on the other hand, prefers to hide in the same place. I mean, if you fight against an experienced and good XDeath player, they're going to crush you. He was actually broken in how overpowered he was. Actually, yes, Blacheval. And that brings us to an interesting statement. So WoW currently doesn't have a spec like Black Mage or like XDeath. But we do need to decide from the perspective of a review how well designed that is as a class. Because I don't really have anything wrong with there being a hard mode class. That makes a degree of sense to me, after all. Lots of games have a hard mode thing, where, you know, you play as such and such because it's a challenge. You play as such and such because it's harder to do. That's understandable. I play Mega Man without using the weapons, right? I do that normally. So, you know, review-wise, while Black Mage certainly has its issues, and it does, at the same time, yeah, exactly. It's not like we could specifically call Black Mage badly designed. It's just hard mode. Having said that, and I've been thinking about this, and I think I might need to actually add a negative to ARR for this, which means we're going to have to change the ARR goal to number. Hear me out. Hear me out. So Black Mage is kind of an iconic, one of the most iconic classes in Final Fantasy, in the whole genre, in the whole franchise. How many of you, yourself or someone you know, immediately gravitated towards playing a Black Mage when they first picked up this game? Yeah, Dragoon's the other big one. It's Black Mage. Right? I mean, first of all, playing a mage in most fantasy games tends to be the right call. Whether that's good or bad, that is a very, very normal thing in a lot of RPGs, including the Final Fantasies. And then you get into the idea of Black Mages specifically. Again, they are iconic to Final Fantasy. I would say the only thing that is more iconic, or at least equally iconic to Black Mage, is White Mage. So, yeah, here's your super optional hard mode thing. To put this into terminology, imagine if there was a Star Wars MMO, and if you decide to play as a Jedi, it's the super optional hard mode class. I can see why you would lean that way. I can understand the logic of it, but really think about it from the perspective of a game designed to be entertaining that a lot of people will you want to play who are going to jump in and want to play a Jedi. Yeah, no, I have for years upon years, like 8 years at this point, been like, don't play Black Mage, at least not to start. You can go back to it later, but do not start as a Black Mage. Do not start as a Thaumaturge. Also, while we're on the subject, I don't think Black Mage is a particularly good class in ARR either. However, that's not saying much because how many classes are good in ARR? Really? That's true, Omega Legion. That's a good point. Yeah. Summoner and Monk. That's kind of it. So I'm checking my notes here really quick. Yeah. Ninja, another class that was added in afterwards. Fun thing. I just double-checked my own notes. There are 3 classes I gave positives for, period, in gameplay terms, for ARR. And you guessed the 3, you can, because we just mentioned all 3 of them. No, Ninja's the 3rd one, as Miristar. Ninja Summoner Monk. All the patched-in classes. Everything else starts at 50. That's true, Churen, and you cannot access them until you're 50. I should know this because I have a new character, a new player, going through the game right now, who I'd love to get her to play a better class, but she can't because, yeah, it's locked behind Heavensward. Good morning, another man, the Dan. I'm actually not 100% sure what minimum level is required to reach that point. It probably is literally 50. To my knowledge, you have to actually physically be in Ishgard. Reach the Foundation, at which point you should be able to, I think, access the job classes to get Dark Knight, Astrologian, and Machinist. Well, see, we say we need to be 50. I'm sorry, I'm asking my question weirdly. What I'm asking is, I wonder what the minimum level requirement is to reach that point. Like, if you were to actually min-max, minimizing your experience gain, how low you can manage to be and still reach Ishgard. Because I'm pretty sure you need to be 50 to do Meridianum. Right? Like, am I remembering that correctly? And then you have all the patch content, which is going to give you experience. You also need to do Crystal Tower, which requires 50. So that's a fairly large amount of additional X that's going to be funneled into you until you are able to reach Ishgard. I was going to say, I got... You remember my run-through on this very character. I got to Ishgard at like 58 or something. Because I was doing everything. I was sweeping. I mean, think about how many optional hard mode dungeons are in the ARR content. Spoilers, it's a lot. Okay. Sorry, I was writing down some notes. Whatever will I do now? Suriato, this is unexpected. Where is Farfarlo? Farfarlo isn't here anymore. He's left. Yeah, that's right. That doesn't sound like him at all. Well, he's gone. Alright, what more do you want me to say? I want to join Rax's party. I want to fail at joining Rax's party. Because I can't join parties during cutscenes for some reason. Farfarlo's gone, but that's quite unusual. As is the fact that Suriato, who was clearly frightened by something, chose not to flee but hide here where Farfarlo... No. We must go. Now! The end of the world is approaching. Why would they relax the co-op rules? Listen, you need to earn the right to group with a friend, okay? Also, screw you and screw your face. Wanting to play a game with your friends. Get out of here. There's no time. The wind rises. We must flee. Wind rises. What is he talking about? After him. In all honesty, I think it's more a spaghetti code thing than a design choice thing. But I hate to presume that. There have been plenty of times I have presumed that aspects of bad design have been code or development limitations, and I've been told rather flatly, no, the developers wanted it that way. It's like, okay. What's gotten into you? What do you mean the wind rises? When the wind rises, she comes. Valvolus. Valvotrix? Who the world is that? We must flee! Valvatrix comes! I don't sense anything, but he comes convinced. It's a dead end. We'll corner him. Can't he float? Oh god, I have a lot of crap on you. Do you need the Hephaestus card, Rax? And bonus question, can I give it to you? Nah, alright, well, never mind then. We're doomed. There's nowhere to run. What are you running from? I already told you, Barbaricia, the archfiend of wind. Archfiend, you say? We will be devoured or first to serve, to fight in the crusade. But it makes no difference. In the end, all are eaten by her or her enemies. I didn't want to fight anymore. That's why I fled and came here. I see. That explains everything. Almost. I thought it was Farfarola who used to serve an archfiend, not you. Not you, who always ran at the first sign of trouble. You who now speak as though you were her minion. There's only one explanation. You devoured Farfarolo, you monster. Literally, I suppose. Good morning, Luke. So, is that the way of it? Did you kill them horribly? How did you know? Because, seriously, you're a bunch of floating masks, dude. It wasn't only your behavior that felt strange. You felt strange, as if there's more than you present. Now, I don't believe you would have lost control. More likely it was at Farfarolo's behest. I can't hide anything from you. No, look, but we're only like 2 quests in, so... I admit, if Farfarolo didn't leave, I ate him. He feared Barbaricia more than anything, hated the endless fighting. So he begged me to devour him, that he would never have to fight again. Rather than an eternity of fighting, he chose a moment of pain. For all the good it did, I can still hear his voice in my head. He's frightened. So very frightened. When you're eaten, your essence is blended with that of the devourer, and though you have no control, your consciousness in part endures. Were this a world where wheel of life and death still turned, the soul wouldn't linger so stubbornly. In time, it would return to the great flow. But there's no such end here, no escape. All know this. In making his choice, Farfarolo must have been desperate indeed. And now that desperation has joined with Suriato's fear, driving him to act erratically. This place will become a battlefield. We don't want to be eaten, neither me nor Farfarolo. There's nowhere to go. Nowhere. Then tell me about Barbaricia. I would know who it is we face. It's too late. She's as good as here. No one can escape her winds. No one! She's wearing a bikini. She has lots of hair. And she crushes on Cain. I mean, Astidian.
Barbaricia! She has come!
Yeah, all four of them are Italian. I mean, come on. Scarmiglione. Rubicante.
And she's brought her domain with her. The Archfiend's after you and yours, I shouldn't doubt.
Also, I thought Tifa was Italian. Points if you get it.
Perhaps you should go and find them. But be warned, whatever this is about, do not expect us to get involved.
I
I
don't.
can't bear it! Eating and being eaten! I only want to be left in peace!
You and me both.
Yeah, no, this place seems like the worst of hells. Like, this place challenges the Maw, and that's impressive.
One of the Archfiends approaches.
They must have been tracking our movements.
She's here.
Nice sword?
Excellent. You've saved me the trouble of traveling to Troya.
The one from WoW, Luke.
So you're Barbaricia.
Mind your manners, mortal. My name is not to be spoken, save in reverence and fear. And what is this pitiful domain? Pitiful wretches all. I will put you out of your misery. Alas, poor Scarmiglione, and good riddance. Felled by outsiders in pursuit of what? Pray tell?
FF4 references mainly.
A dragon. One who crossed to this world thousands of years ago. Know you aught of it?
A dragon, you say? Huh. My Lord Golbez is more clever than I realized. To let the prize live, that it might lure more prey to us. Very well. In gratitude and service, I shall devour every last mote of their souls.
Where is she? Where is Ashdaya?
Huh. You even share its scent. How curious. And irresistible.
If you think us easy prey, you're wrong.
Unlike Scarmiglione, I need not skulk in shadow to claim what is mine. If you would know about the dragon you seek, then enter into my domain. You may flee instead if you wish, if the fate of the sorry lot here is of no concern to you. One way or another, I will have satisfaction.
like how the decal stayed there.
What's the plan then?
Well, that won't be the hard part, Talia.
Indeed. Yet she will have the upper hand in her domain. We must be no less than fully prepared.
We find her and get our answers. Will you be joining us, Zero?
You may be easily goaded into accepting her challenge, but my curiosity is not so insatiable as to cloud my judgment. Nevertheless, if you are desperate for my aid, you know my price.
I shall pay it. So long as you leave me strength enough to see my sister home, you may take as much as you wish.
Don't overpay.
And lest you forget, mine is no ordinary ether. Babaricia too recognized its potency.
Very well. We have a bargain.
A word of warning. Babaricia spoke as if she would give us answers if we were to defeat her. But even assuming she'll talk, which I doubt, I trust I needn't tell you how foolish it is to give an Archfiend a second chance. Best seal her away at the best opportunity. Wish to peer into her past, the memorial will suffice. Okay. If you fail, we'll just have to search elsewhere for answers. Rest assured, this won't be our last opportunity to learn about Uzdaj. When the Archfiend is to fall, Golbez will surely be compelled to respond. We need only wait for our quarry to come to us. And if our struggle with the Scrimiglione taught us aught, it's that we must hold nothing back when facing an Archfiend. Let us heed Zero's advice.
You're not the only ones who can ride the wind.
Why do Reapers get a double jump?
Leave these ones to us.
I see to Barbaricia.
Seriously, can we get a barber in here? Yeah. Yeah, the song doesn't have the impact of the original, but it's decent enough. I've only ever in my entire life heard one mix of this song that actually felt like it had the impact of the original. Okay. Nope, not the Pixel remaster. Let's just say we'll be hearing a version of it later. Leave it at that. So am I tanking? Or do we only need one tank? I don't mind. Yeah, I may or may not have mentioned that something was spoiled for me thanks to looking up FF14 music. There's actually two things that were spoiled for me. That's one of them. The other's the obvious. But I won't say it out loud. Not until we get there. Yeah, how dare I be on YouTube? Do we seriously have 3 dancers?
Come, give yourselves to my scouring winds that I may feast upon your essence.
We do. We have 3 dancers. Well, Rax is Gunbreaker, so I'm probably actually tanking, so he can focus on deep sync. Unless you want to tank. I don't actually care. Yeah, no, YouTube is the worst. Whatever.
Such rich, exquisite ether. My hair shimmers with anticipation. On your guard! Try this! Have at you! My locks are as the wind. Soft, strong, and free. Try this! A fair wind blows. You feel it too, do you not? You've done well to last this long.
That attack is called curling iron.
The battle has only just begun.
I just wanted you to know that. Okay.
I'll slaughter you all. Dodge this if you can.
I'll make it quick.
Yeah, I'm glad we decided not to do Black Mage for this. Random thought. Random thought. Just saying. Glad I'm not playing a Black Mage.
Don't underestimate me.
Feel my fury!
Know your place.
I'll break your every bone!
Be gone from my sight! The insolence!
Dodge this if you can!
I'll make it quick.
I mean, this is just Garuda too, right? Actually, this would be more like Garuda 5 at this point, wouldn't it?
No! I will not be denied!
It's like we had Garuda, Garuda Hard, Garuda Eden. I guess we never fought the Garuda as part of the ship. Oh, then there's the 15. I forgot about the 15 one. There's Garuda Extreme. We also fought Garuda as part of the Ultimate fight.
There's still time. With more of the dragon's ether, I can yet... You're finished.
Goodbye.
Damn it all!
We fought a lot of Garudas, is what I'm trying to say. They can't get enough of that furry ass. I guess feathery ass. What about Black Mage? Nobody cares about Black Mage. Actually, no. I'll tell you exactly. Yoshi P would be like, I know exactly what Black Mages will do. They'll adapt or die. Yoshi P just puts on his glasses. Any true Black Mage could fight that fight.
I see you've bested Barbaricia. Well done.
Her minions too are all crystallized or scattered. The day is ours.
What of my sister? Tell me you learned something about Ashdaya.
Yeah, no. I mean, she's still alive. That's about it.
So the Archfiend and her crystal yielded not.
Our efforts have not been entirely fruitless. We have deprived your sister's captor of another powerful champion. With Zero, we may yet challenge Golbez and his minions.
Indeed. We could not have come this far without your aid. Thank you, Zero.
I but fulfilled my part of the bargain. And now I will have my...
Well, Zero's dead. Alright, who wants to eat her ether?
Her ether is nearly spent. Perhaps unsurprising given how much power she used.
Just Endwalker, Tim. Alright, so Dawntrail.
Want to face another Archfiend without her. We should hurry back to Zero's domain.
Agreed. Eager though I am to continue, it would be unwise to risk our lives for the sake of haste. Let us suspend the mission and tend to Zero.
Yeah, actually, haste might help this situation. Do we have a yellow mage? I mean, we don't. There is no buff class. Although, while we're talking about classes, obviously they're not doing this in Dawntrail, because duh. But, you know, we have Astrologian. Yeah, so anyways, we don't have a buff class. But, unfortunately, so like I said, they aren't actually doing this in Dawntrail. We already know this. But I really hope that FF14 notices and is able to capitalize on what both Guild Wars 2 and WoW have done at this point. So for those of you not aware, Guild Wars 2 has fully dedicated support builds that are possible, where you don't really do any damage, but you still have tons and tons of gameplay to, you know, support, heal, buff, debuff, etc. WoW very recently, as in during Dragonflight, added a full support spec to the new class, Evoker. It's awesome! And it is so awesome and so fun and so great, and it's going to be a cavalcade of positives when we get there. So I'm hopeful that FF14 will follow the trend and allow us to play a true support class, because yes, Moving on. In the present state, Zero is easy prey for other voids, and we must be on our guard. There isn't so much as stirred. Such power she has expended. Though Zero remains unconscious, he appears otherwise fine. Insofar as I can discern, at any rate. Being part of Void Center, physiology may be different from us. Let's observe for a while while we discuss our next move. Oh, and thank you all for joining me. Good job on the fight. Sorry. I was a bit distracted. I apologize. Terrible fight. 3 negatives, Pillars of Snow. How long do you suppose she'll remain this way? Yeah, that felt like a dancer fight. Or machinist. I haven't the faintest inkling, nor can I say whether the ether we can afford to show will be enough to awaken her. I would say a little bit less voice acting, as is evidenced by the scene that's happening right now, which is not voice acted. Don't mistake me, the MSQ has voice acting, and it's nice that they gave a couple of lines for a couple of scenes in the raid content. But we're still well below the bar of what I would consider acceptable. Not to sound whiny. Oh yeah, it's another Garuda. We have Summoner. Eventually, Summoner's just going to turn into Garuda and just be like, ah. Zero cannot give her consent, but it seems we have no choice. The alternative would be leave her here defenseless. Though should she later desire it, we can bring her home. There's just Garudas. It's just all Garudas the whole way to FF14. Garuda. That's going to be the next expansion. Laura, might I ask you to hold into Barbaricia's memoria? May yet serve a purpose. Garuda Fantasy 14. Oh, what happened to her? You have business with Zero. We have a newcomer, a former minion of Barbaricia. I hope you enjoy the movie, Mr. Red. If you haven't seen it, I will say nothing. Also, for those of you in chat, if you haven't seen Lilo and Stitch, go watch it. It's a good movie. All right, go and find this newcomer, so we have something to tell Zero, if nothing else. Indeed. May I trouble you to join me, Laura? With luck, we may learn something of Golbez. Do you know the stated reasoning, Omega Legion? Because I could share that. Whether I agree with it or not. So the stated reason for why they turned the oven into the pizza box is because they were concerned about getting across the message to kids that it's fun to climb into the oven. So they didn't want to give that message. You're the ones who found Barbaricia. I won't make trouble. I'll obey. Please let me stay. If you would obey, then tell me all you know of Golbez. There isn't much I can tell. Only the Archfiends are allowed into his domain, wherever it is, but none but they know. I see. No better way to guard oneself than keeping one's location secret. How does Golbez communicate with his minions afield? He has these scepters, staves. Wherever they are, he uses them to talk to those far away. Not unlike link pearls, at least in function. That'll be all. Thanks for your cooperation. My thanks to you, Al, for affording me the time. I am satisfied. Let's rejoin the others and head home. My favorite thing about Treasure Planet by far is the space thing. Just the concept of how they approach space. There's other parts of that movie I could talk about, but that's the one thing I will gush about unabashedly. What I consider to be acceptable? Well, now that is an interesting question. So, if I'm being 100% honest, I would say what I consider to be absolutely bare minimum acceptability here would be for all of the Prime Opt and all of the MSQ to be voice acted. Except for, like, this right here. That I'm fine with not being voice acted. But if we're in a cutscene, it should be voice acted. At least with regards to the two primary contents. Anything that is main content should be voice acted. The Coils of Bahamut should be voice acted. The Crystal Tower should be voice acted. The 12 Gods should be voice acted. Pandemonium should be voice acted. The Weapons Chain should be voice acted. All of that. That is what I would honestly consider to be minimum. And I know that sounds harsh, but if I'm being totally honest, that is just me being honest. All main content should be primarily voice acted. I understand not voice acting everything. There's a lot of dialogue in this game. Yes, Sid should be voice acted. My God. I trust you understand once we leave the 13th, we'll not return until we're prepared to resume. Knowing this, you're ready to depart. Yes. Let's go get her some ether, shall we? Well, it's funny you say that, Tim, because that's the other thing that's been brought up a lot. Let me talk about that after this cutscene. Or it's not voice acted. So I'll talk about it now. So, FF14 absolutely has an empty text problem. I'm going to do something very, very strange that's going to make everyone in chat hate me. The core team of quest writers in World of Warcraft are very good writers. But they weren't initially. They were forced to be good writers. Let me explain that a little bit. When I say the quest writing team, I mean when you pull up a quest in WoW, there's a text thing that pops up, and it has X amount of characters limit. I think it's like a 800 character limit or something like that. It's relatively short. That has to contain whatever information is there for the text. Sense make? So you have to convey everything within those 800 characters. That, over the years, forced the writers to become better writers. They have gotten very inventive, very creative, and done a lot with a little with regards to the WoW quests. And so there is a huge amount of personality and world building and development and inference and all kinds of stuff that goes into those 800 character limit text, or whatever the hell the actual limit is, text boxes. You can probably see immediately how I tie this into FF14. If they were, shall we say, mandated to voice act all this stuff, it is within the realm of possibility. Yeah, that's very true, Rex. It is within the realm of possibility that they would be forced to, I have no nice way of saying this, be better about their writing and trim down some of the fat, because that way they have less voice acting to do. It's actually a good example, Pellisto, yeah. Now, I should probably mention that I'm not calling FF14's writing bad. Quite the contrary, dialogue is something I've given several positives here. But there's definitely too much of it. This is something I was actually talking about very, very recently, because I was posed the question, if I was a professor teaching writing, you know, what would be like the first big thing I would do? And my answer is actually very, very similar. Simple, excuse me, not similar. You know how most essays have to hit a certain number of words or a certain number of pages? I would do the opposite of that. I would have you have a ceiling instead of a floor. You cannot go over 400 words with regards to your essay. That's the limit. So, chop it down and learn how to work within that limitation. Now, I should probably mention that that wouldn't work in every case, obviously. It depends on the topic and the subject and all kinds of things like that. But in my honest experience as a writer, but also as an analyst of writing, it is harder and more difficult to properly write shorter than longer. Or, if I can borrow one of my favorite quotes on the matter, if I had more time, I would have written a shorter letter. Polishing and editing passes are what help you to bring this down to this and really trim the fat and really, really get into things like inference rather than stating things outright. If I might be so bold, several of the older FFs actually did a pretty good job of this exact concept. They only had X amount of space to work with in text boxes, literally. This is especially true in, for example, FF9. So they had to actually think about what they put there. And I'm not going to say they always succeeded at it, but you could tell the effort was put in to put that extra bit of editing and polishing in to squeeze themselves into the limitations that they were facing at the time. In FF14, and I've talked about this before, FF14 does not have any limitations on its text whatsoever. And I do think that's a little bit too far the other direction. I understand that it's not limiting, the opposite of limiting. It's freeing to be able to have that. But really think about from a development perspective, what it means to craft a cutscene in this game. You have to set camera, you have to set position of the characters, what they're facing, what their current animation cycle is, and then you put up text, which can be as many text boxes per iteration of a box as you want. It can be infinite functionally, and all it has to do is has a name indicating who's talking. They can throw books worth of text in these cutscenes. Nothing is stopping them from doing so. Sense make? It's actually, ironically, very BioWare in the way that they construct their cutscenes from a development perspective. Sorry, getting off topic here. But voice acting would be awesome. Moving on. So, for the record, I do like the prose of FF14. What I do not like is Savacom giving me money. But no, I like the prose of FF14, but I should mention that I also dislike the empty text because the two are not one and the same. You can be brief and still have prose. And hell, even the fact that, how do I phrase this? Even if you have 7 paragraphs of text, for example, that doesn't necessarily mean empty text. Empty text is, by definition, empty text. If you have 7 paragraphs of dense, quality writing, there is 0 empty text in those 7 paragraphs.
Ah, you're all safe. Thank the sisters. A moment while I close the gate.
I mean, it was Omega Legion. I'm not going to argue that. Although, interestingly enough, I also completely disagree with you.
There. We may rest easy for now.
Let me explain why I disagree with you, though, rather than just telling you that you're dumb and you're stupid and you're literally Hitler. What? I mean, yeah, Metzen is functionally the DM of Warcraft. I've said it before. It's been his baby for a very, very long time. One moment. Trying to find something here. Huh. That's funny. Okay. One of the things that I think WoW does very, very well, other than the obvious quality of writing, which I've already mentioned, is they do dialects. WoW actually is really good about its dialects. Almost every species speaks with a completely different sentence structure and a completely different style of speaking compared to everyone else. Gnomes, goblins, humans, dwarves, obviously trolls are easy, but they all talk differently. Their voices are differently. To go back to what I've talked about a lot ever since we played Starfield. And I think it is dismissive and or insulting to say that WoW is written for American by Americans, considering how much time and work and effort was put into trying to stretch out the dialects of the various races and the various culture groups within that setting. Even different members of different species tend to talk differently, especially when it comes to a random example, Kiltirans versus Gilneans versus, you know, normal humans over in Stormwind or whatever. All three of those groups, which are all human, all talk very, very differently. And yeah, Broken versus Draenei is another excellent example of that. And yeah, the races do have a surprising amount of depth in the way that they talk and the way that they function. This is especially obvious in the racial exclusive zones, you know, because there's some zones that's just, this is the zone for that species. However, even when you get out into multi-mix things, you start to see this consistently and persistently used going forwards. And yeah, Zandalari trolls versus, say, Darkspear trolls is another excellent example of that. Hell, if we're being honest with ourselves, several of the enemy troll races tended to speak with their own voice. Not distinctly. The Drakari and, say, the Firaki both talked basically the same, but they still had a third troll voice for them. Anyways, I'm getting off topic. Point being, I'm dumb.
Was there any trouble? I expect some void scent slipped through.
A few did, aye. But we were ready and dealt with them without incident.
That is well. I cannot thank you enough for your vigilance.
Yes, you're grateful. But aren't you forgetting something more important? You know, the polite but warm formalities one delights in hearing when their little brother returns from a long journey.
Indeed, you are right. It is good to be home again, among those who I love dearly and missed so much.
And we are glad to receive you, Vashan. Welcome home.
I get the feeling this voice actor and the voice director never saw this character before they cast Navdeen.
Chambers have been prepared for your use at Megaduta. Let us take Zero there at once.
Thank you, Savacom, very, very much. Always appreciate. Thank you. I will put that towards Radix Chronicles, Dawn Trail, and Tactics Ogre Reborn. Ditto in reverse, Omega Legion. To be very, very clear, I understand your point, or at least what I assume is your point. You prefer more prose, and that's fine. I happen to, as I've already said, rather enjoy the prosy nature of FF14. I should know I tend to write that way myself. Now, my issue is the empty text problem, and as Rax so accurately pointed out earlier, a lot of the empty text can be objectively pointed down to repetition. There is an extraordinary amount of repetition in this game. They have actually gotten better about it, it's worth noting. But it's still there. There's still sections where it's like, oh my god, let me talk about the thing I just saw. Wait, you just saw the thing you just saw? Yes, I just saw the thing I just saw! Someone else walks in. Hey, what's going on? There's a thing I just saw! Oh my god, what did you see? It was this thing! So you saw this thing? I did see this thing! Okay, I'm exaggerating a little bit. But only a little bit? ARR pretty much straight up does what I just described. Because, wow! I know Japanese is just a repetition thing, and I get that. But I'm never going to not give the repetition negative. I'm sorry. There's no convincing me that repetition at that level and at that consistency is a good thing. It's always going to be a negative, whatever culture group it comes from. Yeah, they even do the explain thing rather than do... Like, so, let me rewrite that scene we just said. Oh my god, what's that? Camera goes and shows the thing. Someone else says, what did you see? Look! Camera shows the thing a second time. Oh my god! Third person shows up. What did you see? And now it's gone. But the first person says, well, I'm not sure you want to hear this, but... Explain. Oh my goodness. And then they react to it. Boom. All repetition removed from the scene. With a little bit of editing and a little bit of cinematography. I should be clear, by the way. As much as I come down on FF14 for repetition, and I do, it's still nowhere near as bad as the worst I've seen, which, as of this exact moment in time, I think is Tales of Arise. Tales of Arise. Go watch my rumination on Tales of Arise, because I do a skit off the top of my head in the middle of that room, and it so perfectly encapsulates Tales of Arise. It's crazy. It's crazy how much empty text there is in that game. It is the worst example I have ever seen to date. Master Runner, we've been expecting you, if you follow me. God, it's just...
Our mission took many an unexpected turn. I am relieved that we have all returned safely. But before you all enjoy the rest you have earned 12 times over, I would consult you on one last matter.
Zero.
I think she's going to need about 4 months to recover.
While she appears none the worse for wear, she remains locked in slumber, and I cannot help but worry. Is there aught we can do to expedite her recovery? If her ether is exhausted, perhaps I can share some of mine now.
In the wastelands of the 13th, one can only replenish ether by taking it from others, be it by trade or by force. In contrast, the source is rich in ambient ether.
This is a good example of repetition, by the way. Again, it's not as egregious as some examples, but this is repetition. We know both of those things, and not just in terms of the overall setting, but that's been established recently, during this quest chain. There's no reason to repeat this here.
Simply being here and drawing breath, Zero will absorb what she needs.
And we need but wait?
I believe so. She will awaken in time, and when she does, give her something to eat. Judging by her form, she should also be able to derive nourishment from food. I know you promised her your ether, but perhaps she might appreciate fine harnish cuisine more.
Food can certainly be arranged.
She looks like any other person. Unsurprising, perhaps, given that she is only part void-sent.
Zero said before that Xenos had altered her essence. A change wrought, I suspect, with the power of darkness. It acted upon the part of her that is void-sent, rendering it dominant. Thus, we were able to reverse it with the power of light.
Whenever it comes out on PC, Eric.
I labor to believe that Xenos possessed such arcane knowledge. In all likelihood, it came from Fandaniel. Were Zero wholly void-sent, I doubt the crystal would have had an effect on her. One might say that Hydaelyn had a hand in your meeting.
'Tis no exaggeration to say that Zero has proven herself invaluable. A boon from Heidelin herself. Her cooperation may come at a price, but whatever it is, I am willing to pay it. Exhausting though it may be at times.
I was looking up with something with regards to Shayla, the voice actress. I've never noticed this before. Or rather, I never noticed this period until it was pointed out to me. Matoya is stubborn, haughty, eccentric, irascible, laconic, and annoying. Shayla. I look at my map. Oh my god, it's hideous! I must have forgotten then. Oh my god, it's hideous, Lineru! Okay, what? What am I looking at? Anyways. I excuse myself, I wish to pay a visit to the High Crucible. With this, while the scales functioned admirably, it would be prudent to have them inspected for signs of degradation. I'll go meet with the soldiers, share them I learned. Do you have any immediate plans? Yeah, I'm going to go to my island sanctuary. Truly, had I known you such interest, I would have trusted you with the development of our nearby islands. At any rate, if you're not in a hurry, I wish you to get to food. Okay, I can go get food. Done. I'm also the best chef canonically in the setting, so if you want me to cook her food, I can do that. Hey, Zero, you want some food? I got your back. Okay, let me go ahead and just enjoy a hot chocolate. From a water flask, as you do. That's how I drink hot chocolate. Blah, blah. Voice acting can help with repetition, unless, of course, it's Tales of Arise. If I was to explain this in my usual term, I would say that voice acting is something that initially is a barrier for quality. In other words, whether dialogue is good or bad, voice acting kind of blankets that a little bit. Unless it's done very well or very badly, in which case it actually becomes a magnifier. Like, once you get past this set point, the voice acting either becomes much, much worse or much, much better, depending on the quality of both the writing, direction, and voice acting. In short, in Tales of Arise, the repetition is really, really terrible. And it's voice acted. So it's magnified. Where's FF14 fall on that spectrum? Well, they decided to skip having voice acting, so they just kind of avoid that spectrum entirely. Yes, worse than Persona 5. Although Persona 5 is another interesting one because... a modest quantity of a living mortal's ether. We're gonna go with meat. She wants protein. Persona 5, which is also voice acted, has the same problem, but is not as bad as Tales of Arise. God, the monologue off. The two characters might as well not even be in the same room as each other. They're just monologuing next to each other. Look at all these strange people over here. God. I better kill them really quick. There we go. Okay. I mean, the Tales of series has always been in love with the Blood Knight archetype, and frankly, usually does it badly.
Light.
Tales of Vesperia is another perfect example of just using the bog standard Blood Knight archetype.
Is this an inn? What happened? How did I get here? There's no time. I must rejoin the battle. I must...
Oh, you're awake! Wonderful!
I saw that coming, but it's still funny.
What is this? Some sort of fiend? A fiend? Where is it? Where?
Oh, Nidana, never change.
But this is no time for jokes. You're in the source, my dear. The world next door, so to speak. The others brought you here after you collapsed. I'll fetch them at once. Wait, just a moment.
Fish out of water. A very common trope, but one I tend to like, I'll admit it. At least when it's done well. They're called apples. And they look really good. You eat them. No, with your mouth. No, stop trying to drain the
I took the liberty of arranging refreshments. I hope you find them as flavorful as they are invigorating.
This isn't what you promised. I suppose ether is ether.
She's doing exactly what I said she was gonna do. That's great.
Wait. Don't tell me you don't know how to eat?
Credit, that makes perfect sense. She doesn't know how to eat.
I took what I needed from it. What's the problem?
Where's the enjoyment in that? You're supposed to bite, to chew, to savor, and then swallow.
Does she have taste buds?
That's the way. So, did it taste good?
I don't know.
Sounds like no.
The long years without eating may have dulled your sense of taste.
Well, we void scent have no need for such when consuming others. There are some who speak of taste when describing the quality and affinity of their prey's ether. But I loathe the act. Taking ether in small amounts like this is one thing, but diluting my essence, diminishing myself, I'd sooner die. And I have died, countless times.
You have? But what happens when you do?
Not much. After a while, you return, together with all your expended life force. The important thing is to die where others won't devour you.
Amazing! My peers who study immortality and resurrection would be most interested in this phenomenon.
The question of taste aside, I am glad that you are able to partake of food like us. I dare say it agrees with your personal preferences.
That's true. You can keep giving me the same on a regular basis.
Yes, that's right. We're going to pay her in apples.
Very well. As my guest, I shall see that you do not want for comfort. And one other thing. We brought you to our world without your consent, and for that, I apologize. If you wish it, we will return you to yours once you have regained your strength.
It's fine. I have no reason to go back. Except for yours, perhaps. You intend to cross over again, I take it.
I do. I have yet to find my sister. I want nothing more than to rush to her aid, to find this Golbez and free her from his clutches, if he still holds her captive.
Though if our recent experience has taught us anything, 'tis that the 13th is more dangerous than we ever imagined. Caution must be our watchword.
And, if I can make a suggestion, next time let's bring a bag of food. I'm not saying that to be facetious. Food is as we've seen in this world, food is an excellent source of ether, prepared ether, even. So, you know, we could use that to bribe or pay or otherwise just make sure that us and Zero are well fed as we're going through it.
Better late than never. In the short time you spent in our world, you left a trail of chaos in your wake. You managed to return in one piece this time. But don't assume you'll be so lucky the next.
It's okay, I already killed cows.
We will make no assumptions and spare no preparation. Speaking of which, while we rest and ready ourselves, I ask that you tell me more about your home. In return, I will tell you about ours. I will show you my domain, Radzet Han.
Again, a stranger in this strange land. I have a condition. You must come too.
Why me?
You have my thanks.
No, I caught that as Mirstar. It's a nice touch. This world is brimming with ether. I feel invigorated just standing here in the breeze. Glad am I to hear that. So, is there any place in particular you wish to see? Perhaps where that food came from? Apple, was it? Well, I don't expect I'll collapse again. It'd be good to know where I can procure more if necessary. Married Mehan it is. I shall introduce you to the head waitress, Mahil. I mean, valid, von Falkenstein. I need AFK for probably about 5 minutes. I do apologize. I'll be right back. Enjoy the music that I forevermore associate with the FF14 credits video rather than Radzet Han. You can, Giga. But you have failed miserably. Tell you what, I'll add a negative instead of get rid of one. How's that sound? Just for you, Giga. This is the place. The air is different here, and I speak not of the heat. There's a texture to it, a fullness unlike that of anywhere else. You smelled the cooking, I believe. Hannish cuisine is quite fragrant and delicious, I hope you'll agree. Yeah, also a little heavy on the stomach. Hey, look. I could get this right now. Welcome to Medreed's Mehan. Greetings, Mahil. I introduced you Zero. She is an esteemed guest. I ask you to see her to her meals during her stay. Ah, yes, Marie told you about you all. Please come to us whenever you're hungry. We will look after you. It was here Laura obtained the apple. While the palace cooks can prepare what you would desire, it is certainly a quick and convenient food. I'll remember it. Who are the ones there, moving their bodies about? Is that some ritual related to eating? No, she's just playing a bard instrument. They move their bodies to bring pleasure to those who are watching. It is a form of entertainment, part of our culture. How needlessly complicated. We Voidsent prefer simpler pleasures. And maybe the way of it now, but your world too must have had such complicated diversions at once. Also, calling dancing complicated amuses me on several levels. Not to be dismissive about dancing, it's just like... we can go up from there, you know what I mean? Of course, Zero doesn't remember. Let us move on. I propose we visit the bazaar, where goods over the world over may be found. You know, you could get both, Rex. I mean, if you wanted to. Depends on how well it reheats, I would suppose. Some Indian food reheats really, really badly. And some is fine, so I don't know about your place. That's right, we need to get Zero into a catsuit immediately. Good idea, Lunarith. What are all these things for? What do you do here? This is a marketplace where people buy and sell goods. Since its earliest days, Radzadhan has served as a trading hub, and here you'll find not only local products, but wares from distant lands. I should mention the vendors generally only accept payment in coin or tomestones. If there's aught you desire, I shall take care of it. So that's what tomestones are for. Voidsent returned with them on occasion, but I never knew their purpose. They struck me as useless trinkets. I couldn't understand your obsession with them. You and me both, lady. On that subject, there appear to be no shops in the 13th. Do you never make bargains in which possessions are exchanged? We do, but rarely. We strike bargains when we want something done. If we desire an object, we kill whoever has it. I see, I see. Your bargains may be likened to employment, I believe. I shall bear this in mind. With that on, let's continue. I propose we go to the High Crucible. Oh, Master Vitra, how may we serve you this evening? If you're here for your vessel, I'm afraid we're still tending to it. No, no rush. Pray take as much time as you require. I know that I have complete faith in your work. The High Crucible is home to the finest alchemists. They're the one who create my bodies and can provide you with healing as well. Now that I think about it, you weren't all surprised when I changed forms. Were you aware of my nature from the start, that I was a soul occupying a vessel not my own? It's hardly uncommon in our world. When given the chance, many shed their bodies to claim stronger ones. So this is Maldraxxus. Well, you must be the rumored guest. I've been most eager to meet you. If you have a moment, would you care to stay for some tea? The sisters know we'd love to hear your tales. No, I've had enough food for now and can always obtain more without the need for inane chatter. Now, no need to decline outright. I dare say you are tired, so let us save it for another time and return to Megaduta. If aught catches your eye en route, do not hesitate to say so. There it is. There's the Moogle dance. I know I heard a Moogle dance somewhere. Alright, Giga. I'm afraid I'm gonna need the ultimate price from you. Your murder spree is over! That'll be $15. Oh, she's dead. Okay, I wasn't trying to kill her. Shoot. Okay, bye. Help! Help! There's been a murder. It's so terrible. Your dance is over. God, you want to talk about triple negative scenes? That's such a dumb scene. What's funny is that very patch has some really good scenes in it, and what I consider to be the best scene in the entire game. And then it has that. Just... Some sort of fruit? Pitiful things, though. I imagine you need to eat a lot to derive any satisfaction. These are mulberry trees. While the fruits are indeed edible, more important are the leaves, which we feed to silkworms. Without the creatures, we wouldn't have the silk to make our famous Thavnarian weave. Furthermore, the bark of the tree produces medicinal properties. You'd be hard-pressed to find a more useful plant. That's so. Aside from food, I wouldn't have considered any other purpose for it. Master Vitra, and lore, too. There's a young Marad, and that must be your sister, Yazra. Is all well at the orphanage? Yes, Your Excellency. The other children are very nice. We all look out for each other. Just the other day, Estinian came to see us. Everyone was really excited. We were like, do the job! Do the job! And he was like, ugh. That as well. Is she a new friend? Friend. You know what that is? What? You mean you don't? She is a visitor from a faraway land, you see, and is still unfamiliar with our language. Then we'll teach you. A friend is someone you like to play with. Play with. Yes, that's what Xenos and I were doing. And not the other thing. Xeno seemed to be enjoying himself when he fought you. Is that the same thing? I'm sorry, Zero. No. No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I am no closer to understanding it. Correct! Why he traversed the great expanse, risked life and limb for you. It's because he was deranged! And monomaniac. And depressed to the point of suicidal. But I waste energy dwelling on such things. I'm not Xenos. I stand to gain nothing by knowing his heart. I'm sorry I couldn't explain it well. No need to apologize. The fault is not yours, but mine for failing to make sense of your words. Now I better get back to our errand. Bye. Nice meeting you. Yeah, not to spoil too much, but Nier Automata makes so much more sense when you realize that the androids derive physical pleasure from fighting. You know, sexual pleasure from fighting. Anyways. Through Xenos, I thought I understood the ways of your world. But the more I learn of it, the more I realize how little I actually know. It's all so strange, your behavior, your reasons. I find myself baffled at every turn. But the feeling is not unwelcome. I'm learning bit by bit. It was the right decision to join you. Yeah, a lot of scenes in Nier Automata make much more sense when you look at it through that lens. It really is just the combat sexual thing taken to the next degree. Because, yeah, that's a semi-common thing. That's true, Omega Legion! I believe Zero's time here has been rewarding, and 'twas no small part due to your company. My thanks for you choosing to join us. Barely see Tali over there. Come, let us return to Megaduta. I think Giga Pudding's becoming one with the trees here. It is tucked away in some lore tidbit somewhere. Yeah, plenty of it. Cannot argue. I walk up to Giga. How bad can I be? I'm just doing what comes naturally. Welcome back, Master Runner. Will you be heading to the guest chambers? Yes, please. More food.
So, what are your impressions of Radzatan?
Hang on. So we've got what looks like kebabs, big old block of cheese, some kind of fruit pie. We've got the apples, obviously over by Zero, duh. We've got the turkey, and I saw what looks like a salad in front of Y'shtola.
There's a lot of mortals.
Considering your origin, I can see why that might be your first observation. Though they would call each other people, I think.
Also fish, and what looks like leeks, and some pizza, and also a big old bowl of something that's steaming and looks really good.
If you wish to know about our fair city, I should be glad to place a guide at your disposal.
What is Y'shtola eating? No, not the salad. What is in that plate? I've been trying to figure it out, and I've been failing at it. Also, if you notice our plate, we have a slice of pizza, too.
No need. I'll show myself around. There's only so much about my home I can share with you in return, after all. While I remember some few tales of the past, I cannot speak to their authenticity. But if that is enough, then I will tell you of the events that saw darkness engulf our world. The Contra Memoria.
I'm sorry, every single time she says that, I have to distance itself from Contra. No, not the real-life political scandal. The series of video games.
We are all ears. Please.
Of course I remember Contra. What do you take me for? Konami?
Long ago, light filled the world and all was at peace. But then the servants of darkness came, and they bequeathed a black art unto men.
I'm sorry, I have to pause here for a second. So Vitra has a nice fancy cup in front of him. Estinian has a goddamn barrel mug. Zero has a simple... Oh no, Zero has nothing. Y'shtola has a wine glass and an entire wine bottle. And we have what looks like an entire jug of ale over there. Do you see that? Right to the left of the fruit bowl, right in front of the carpets. We just have the whole damn... I just killed all the gods. Glug, glug, glug. Yeah, like a cider. Don't know what the actual term is for that, but the thing that carries cider. By the way, hi, Bragwin. Rest, Bragwin, rest.
Channeling the power of hope and prayer, one could call forth fearsome beings known as Eidolons.
The Ascians. And these Eidolons are surely primals.
Then you have faced the same, and understand that when an Eidolon is birthed, strife follows. And in such strife, the weak are the first to suffer.
Yeah, by the way, there's a reason I always ask my voice actors to say Eidolon. Not everyone does, funnily enough. Even with the direction, some of my actors say Eidolons. But to be clear, the intention is for it to be Eidolon, for anybody who's voice acting for me in the future.
When it seemed the world would be plunged into chaos, heroes appeared. They who were blessed with a singular power, the power to bind the ether of Eidolons within crystals known as Memoria. My mother was one such Memoriate, but in fighting to save many, she herself was touched by darkness, as was I.
No, in Imperial it'd be Eidolon. Eidolon. God, that's hard to say. You're not supposed to put vowels next to each other in Imperial. So, Eidolo. There you go. Eidolon. Yeah, Eidolon. That's, yeah. Eidolon GPT.
And so you were born part Void Sent, before the world was overcome.
How exactly did that calamity come to pass? Did the Memoriates not triumph?
They did. They expunged the seeds of chaos and restored the peace, only to find themselves seduced by the darkness they had sealed. They spread the taint, transforming men into monsters, what you call Void Sent, and raised armies to wage new wars.
Not the first to be corrupted by power, nor the last.
Some defied temptation and held fast to the light. My mother and I among them. For years and years we fought, but it was not enough. And when our strength was spent, our bulwarks broken, so too was the world.
The flood of darkness.
The stars faded from the heavens as a pall black as pitch enveloped creation. Darkness raged unchecked, rending the very walls of reality. I was cast into the rift, and there trapped for what felt like an eternity. Until I came upon a crack. Tiny, infinitesimal, but enough for me to squeeze through. And find my world changed beyond recognition, into the lightless waste you saw.
Guys, Estinian has fish and chips. That's funny on several levels. I still can't tell what the hell is in front of your stola. Like, it's steaming whatever it is. Clams, maybe? I mean, Radzadhan does have an ocean on all sides. By the way, we have a potato, in addition to our pizza. No, not the salad, the other thing.
So that is how you were able to escape becoming a void scent in full.
Okay, so I see clearly cucumbers. Oh, you know what? It's not ratatouille, but it's like a dish like ratatouille. I'll bet you money. Because look at it. It's like tomato sauce, cucumbers, and there's some cheese there too. They keep not... It's like the only dish that hasn't had screen time is Y'shtolas. That's actually funny. I'm sorry. I know I'm spending way too much time trying to figure out what everyone's eating. What do you want from me?
I suppose I should consider myself fortunate. Were I like most others, I wouldn't have lasted a day before being devoured. We, the lost, are better equipped to survive in a lost world.
A lost world, you say? I wouldn't be so sure. The 13th is still there, is it not?
What are you getting at?
To explain requires that we initiate you into the truth of the source and its reflections. Be warned that this will take a while.
Look, Y'shtola's just trying to get back to her boyfriend, okay? Yeah, so there's this bird lady, right? And there's this idiot, this selfish git.
Then, unlike the worlds that have been rejoined, mine still...
The Oracle of Light prevented the first from being completely overcome. So the situation may not be completely identical to that of your 13th. But the fact remains that we were able to restore a measure of balance to a world brought to the brink of destruction.
I'm sorry, I hate to interrupt this touching scene, but I should have thought of that joke in the middle of that. Imagine that we're talking to you and it's like, look, I know ARR is a thing to get through. I know Stormbloods is a bit of a bump in the road, but I swear it's worth it once you get to Shadowbringers, okay? Just stick with it, Zero, please.
After which, some intrepid young souls succeeded in restoring life back to lands thought lost to light. Which gives me cause to hope the day may yet come when life springs forth anew in the 13th. Of course, these are only possibilities. I offer no guarantees.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking that. I don't want to get too speculative, but I'm wondering what happens if the 1st and the 13th had a direct pipeline connected between them. We know such kind of ether connections are possible, but I don't know what would actually happen as a consequence thereof. It would also depend on how that would affect the life stream, because we're not 100% certain if there is one life stream for the planet or 13 life streams. Because there's some asterisks there.
But having experienced what we have, I dare say we are more qualified than most to speak on the matter.
Wait, I don't understand. Why would you say these things? As if you mean to... But the sole reason you came to the Void was...
To find a dragon, aye. And in light of what we've seen, we'd be fools to strive for more. But we Scions, former Scions, begging your pardon, have a habit of not leaving well enough alone. And old habits die hard, don't they, my friend?
Now that's a real friend, by the way, while we're on the subject. I lied, by the way, it's not fish and chips. It's fish and octopus tentacles. Like he's got friggin' I can't remember what it's called. Calamari.
Restoring the light would serve our efforts to find and free Ashdaya. There is no reason not to try.
Yeah, look, I know we're looking for one person, but can we save the entire planet, too? I'm not even making fun. That's just the level at which we play.
Do as you will. I have no desire to save that world.
Okay.
Be that as it may, we will have need of your power when next we face Voidsent.
I mean, honestly, fixing the
You know how it works. If you want my help, you must pay my price.
Well, there's all this food in front of you. For real, though. No, Omega Legion. For real, though, Takoida's right. Fixing the 13th would have a fairly large-scale positive impact on just our world. Never mind the other ones connected to ours. Think about how many quests and plot arcs throughout the course of FF14 have directly dealt with Voidsent and the problems they can cause. Obviously, there's the big ones, like the Shadows of Makach, or however you say that. But there's a lot of the Black Mage quest chain. There's several secondary quests in a lot of different zones. Yeah, Temtara hard. There's been plenty. There's been plenty of examples of Voidsent causing issues. Even in Boja, actually, in Dalriada? I don't know how to pronounce that. It's not voiced. So, yeah, no, we probably should, you know, chop that sucker off.
And now that you've drawn Golbez's attention, it's going to cost you more. A lot more.
But there's an apple right there, Zero.
I will consider this a deposit.
Come on, focus in on your stall. Yeah, he's got a big old mug. Free food for life? Hey, Ashdaya, can we get free food for life for her? Since you're, you know, a nearly immortal dragon who is also the ruler of an entire country, who is also vested in helping her out and us. Like, you got our back. Wait, what did I say? Who's Ashdaya? Oh, God. Oh, the sister. Wow. Anyways, yes, Vitra, which is what I meant. Then we're going to kill Ashdaya, obviously, and eat her. Though our time in the void was short, we managed to ascertain my sister yet lives. I cannot overstate how fortunate we are to have met Zero. The greater blessing is nevertheless you, my friend, for your encouragement to embark upon my search anew, and your help in overcoming my challenges thus far. What in the world is that? What? Hold up! What was that? Golbez and his minions will seek to stymie our efforts. Was that Giga? Of this we can be sure. But with you at my side, I have confidence we will succeed. That we will find and liberate my sister. We will return home together. Wibble, 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 wibble. Oh, shoot. What's the name of the quest I just turned in? Meanwhile, elsewhere. Buried memory. Thavnarian chai, peach tart, pumpkin ratatouille. That's probably what Y'shtola was eating, the pumpkin ratatouille. Okay, brilliant.
First Scarmiglione, and now Barbariccia. Useless, the both of them.
'Twas no lie. They conspire with a Memoriat.
And their search for the dragon will lead them here. The war looms nigh. We cannot allow these interlopers to interfere.
If I may, my lord, I have a plan to eliminate them. In order to guarantee its success, however, I will require Cagnazzo's cooperation.
Cagnazzo. Wow. I've been saying that wrong, apparently.
There's sport to be had, then I'll play along. As much as I dislike following your lead, I have no patience for scheming.
Well and good to have confidence, but do not forget the cost of failure.
Rest assured, I will see the dream to fruition. Even should I be consumed by my own flames, I will pave the way for one and all.
Then I will trust in your oath and your plan.
It's a reference to Dante's Inferno 5. Just like the original Four Fiends in FF4 were a reference to that.
We will give you cause to rejoice, my lord. This I vow. Ha ha! Some excitement for a change.
No sacrifice is too great. Even should my 4 archfiends be lost, I will not halt my steps. The prison of passivity is an obstacle to my cause, and so you must fall. What irony that the blessed damned should set us free.
By the way, whoever's going to voice Golbez, this is what you're going up against.
As I swore so long ago. The gate lies open. At long last, my ambition shall be fulfilled!
Oh, sorry. Dun dun dun. Golbez is evil. Spoilers. Alright, where is it? Where's the nightmare? Ah! Okay, we're okay. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. I'm just gonna leave this nightmare show immediately. This is truly the most horrifying thing in the game right here. Now let's go see what that blob was. Hi, Brigwin. Hi, Blob. What's up? Master Lord, you couldn't have appeared at a better time. While out patrolling the city, I chanced to sight a void scent. I immediately chased it down with intent of eliminating it, but something about it struck me as odd. For one, it made no move to defend itself, but simply sat there jiggling. Which is why, against my better judgment, I decided to capture it instead. Having traveled to the void, I dare say you have considerable knowledge of its denizens. If you have a moment, might I trouble you for your opinion of the creature's unusual behavior? I am grateful if you'll follow me. The creature's being held in the Hall of the Radiant Host. Wibble, wibble, wibble. And let me get on my best I understand how void works outfit going. No more dancers. We're reaching the dancer singularity at this point. Wibble, wibble. Here it is. Surprisingly docile even when I capture it. There have been no reports of attacks prior to that. Even so, it's the nature of Voidsent to prey on people for their ether. Perhaps it bides its time? Waiting to carry out some manner of scheme? You, I remember you. You were at Troya. Please, you must help me. You were at the castle. Indeed I was, but I've since fled here. I understand the mortal tongue well enough, but I don't have a mouth to produce the sounds. It's been a struggle to convey my thoughts. But not anymore. You can help me. Yes! Yes, you can. Okay. You can converse with the Voidsent? Amazing. Could you ask why I came here? Well, you see, Cobra, I would die to defend this Voidsent. When you and yours stormed the castle, I was caught up with the fighting and died. In time I returned, but I tire of fighting. So I fled, using the gate to your world. Having been reborn, however, my essence hadn't been fully bound together, so when I emerged from the gate, it was as several sundered selves. Frightened and confused, they scattered, following their trail led me here, my diminutive size allowing me to remain largely unseen. By the same token, I can do little more than sneak about. Each of us is so weak. Powerless. That's why we consumed one another in the first place. Together we were strong. Why don't you help me find all of me so I can be whole again? What are you going to do in this world? I live here, of course. I've always wanted to. We still remember the past, you see. Still remember when we were mortals. We long to have that life again, but we need your help. Starting by reuniting us. We won't try to devour anyone, even when they're whole, I swear. You wish to learn more about the Void, yes? There's much we can teach you about those who rule its domains, about their past. Find the others, they'll tell you all they know. No eating, no tricks. Bargain? Alright, look. Bear with me. So it crossed over to our world to escape conflict, now searches for the rest of itself? Unnecessary line. There's some repetition for you. I understand Voidsent are quite reliable when it comes to fulfilling a pact. I dare say having one as an ally would benefit our research into their world. Very well. If you'd be so kind as to search for its kin, I will consult my superiors on how best to deal with them. By that I take it we have a bargain. Good. Good. Yes! The pudding! Sorry. I sense 4 others close by. No, one of those is Giga Pudding. When you find them, you need only point them in this direction. Once they sense my presence, I can guide them the rest of the way. Alright, Giga, where you at? I need you to merge with this thing. Oh, you're right here. Alright, Giga, merge with this thing. Come on, come on, come here. Ugh, get in the blob. Ugh. Well, we killed Giga. Again, as it happens. Gosh darn it. Alright, fine. I suppose if I'm really to be the Voidsent expert, I have to be this class. Look, I'm not trying to go Giga Pudding. It's just... it's so easy. What's that? I asked you to search for me in exchange for knowledge about powerful Voidsent? I was still wanting to see this and that, but I suppose a deal is a deal. There were men over there. Oh my god. Soldiers, are they not? We used to have soldiers in our world, too. There were lots of them during Contra Memoria. Back from Weaver's Warding, are you? I heard you fought well against the Void Scent that slipped through. Come now, I merely did my duty. Haven't we all sworn to protect our nation no matter the cost? Protect our nation. They're familiar, these words. Where was it I heard them? Ah, yes, in the early days of the Contra Memoria. The enemy had conjured a terrible eidolon that laid siege to a fortress. The garrison was made up of ordinary soldiers, men and women with no remarkable abilities, but led by their valiant commander, they fought bravely and desperately. Yeah, I know, I'm absolutely exhausted, Omega Leader. They need to last until the Memoria arrived, the commander told them. They needed to hold out no matter the cost. The Memoria did eventually arrive, but not soon enough for the soldiers. Having struck down the Eidolon, the Memorian and his servant searched the castle for survivors. They found only the dead. But just when they had given up all hope, a faint groaning reached their ears. They rushed over to the sound and cleared away debris. To find a lone survivor, the garrison commander. Instead of joy, however, the sight of the man filled them with anger. Our soldiers are slaughtered to a man, yet there's barely a scratch on you. What is the meaning of this? The Eidolon was savage, but mindless. It was a simple thing to hide myself behind fallen debris. Hide? As a commander, you had a duty to your men. You're supposed to put their lives before your own. Spare me. My duty was to ensure this fortress stood, and so it did. Besides, my death would achieve nothing. Honor be damned. No, I'm sworn to protect our nation, to do what and to do that I must live. It isn't my fate to fall here. Isn't your fate, you say? Enjoy the death. Merely unconscious. Come, let's bury the soldiers and their commander with them. Fate shall decide what becomes of him, whether he lives or dies. I mean, in all honesty, I'm kind of with that. If a commander in my army tried something like that, he would be grateful to be killed. Funeral rites were laid ahead for the fallen, but solemn tears quickly gave to horrified screams as a body emerged from the earth. The commander. I can't die. I must live, the man is said to have declared. People thought him a demon, a disheveled horror muttering curses as he wandered off to regions unknown. Scarmilione, they called him. A name befitting his newfound grisly visage. A name befitting a monster. We thought him buried deep, but a mortal's desire to live is not to be underestimated. You're immortal, so I expect you understand that desire. That concludes my tale. I'd best rejoin myself, if you'll excuse me. Bloop, 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 bloop. Bloop, bloop. Oh my god. The dancers are growing. I must resist. Must resist. Run! Run! Okay, they'll never find me at the food place, restaurant. Whew. Hey, look at this thing that's still here. So this is where mortals consume ether. Dreading loneliness more than hunger, how very like me. If you don't mind, though, I'd like to observe the models a while longer. The food here is simply sublime. Why, I feel stronger with every bite, as if the Murga themselves were granting me their blessing. Food is tasty, that's true enough, but no food is so sublime as to be a substitute for proper training, my friend. Stronger with every bite, every feed. For my part of the bargain, I'll tell you how we Voidsent become strong. Simply put, it depends on the quality and quantity of ether we harbor. When the world was consumed by darkness, the heroes known as the Memoriates arose as powerful Voidsent. In contrast, the vast majority of mortals, powerless and unremarkable as they were, became ordinary Voidsent, like me. There were exceptions, of course, but one in particular I'll never forget. His name was Diabolos, Scarmiglione. Never have I seen a Voidsent so craven. Even when he pushed to the brink of starvation, he would only prey on those weaker than himself. He subsisted on scant leavings and lived in constant fear and hunger. In face of danger, a Voidsent stronger than himself fleeing was the only option. But a day came when he found his way barred. How pitiful. Such overwhelming ether. Who is this? You fled instead of facing your foe. Why? Why? I'm too weak. Why else? I would have been devoured. So you had enough strength. Had you enough strength, you would have stood your ground? Very well, then. What's happening? I feel it. Power swelling within me. Lo, your foe returns. What have you done to me? I granted you but a sliver of ether. 'Twas with the power you already possessed that you defeated your foe. I possessed such power? Fear had clouded your eyes, blinded you to strength you had attained feeding on the weak. If you would free yourself from fear, then join me. You shall have a greater cause to live for and know true power. Curious how in a world without death, fear of it could be the key to great strength. The knight recognized this, recognized the Voidsent's potential, and thus did he take him into his service. Probably not. The Golbez from 4 arguably wasn't particularly evil. I know that's a matter of debate, but still. This Golbez seems to be a lot more, well, evil. At the very least, immoral. Determined as he is to live, it wouldn't surprise me if he were still out there somewhere. Yeah, he'd be even more powerful now, I expect, from all the devouring he would have done since then. Unlike your world, eating actually makes you stronger than ours. Well, I must be going. Ta-ta. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Don't look, but I think something's going on over on the dance stage. Oh god! Gotta get away, gotta get away, gotta get away, gotta get away. Yeah, there's some kind of dance cult over there. It's terrifying. Yeah, save yourself, U.S. Corp. My other self grows lonely. My apologies. It was my intent to seek out the others, but I was distracted by a bickering pair of mortals. Goodness, there's been some colorful language. Hell's with your father. You shouldn't need his permission just to leave the goddamned house. Preach it, brother. Just mind your language. What would father say if he would hear you? He would say, my goodness, and he would pop a monocle. It was father this, father this. I'm sick of it. You're your own woman now. Bloody act like one for a change. Quite colorful language, yes. Not from the girl, though. She seems quite well bred. I just hope she's happier than a girl I knew a long, long ago. Girl was born into a family of thugs who suddenly found themselves nobility. Yeah, we call them bandit lords. Or bandit. I don't remember what we called them. She was raised as a noblewoman and had servants tending her every need, but in the end she was merely a beautiful bird kept in a gilded cage. Wanting to be a proper lady, her parents presided over all aspects of her life. They decided everything for her, telling her what to say and do. Again, hashtag relatable. Chafing from the fetters of her life, she solicited her handmaiden's aid and stole outside the manor, where she enjoyed a moment of bliss unbeknownst to her parents, or so she thought. It was not long before her father dragged her back to her room, barring the door and windows, denying her even the simple pleasure of an afternoon breeze. Even a bird in a cage may chirp freely, but she wasn't even suffered to give voice to her desires. But she wouldn't be deterred. Having once tasted sweet freedom, she yearned for more. One day she succeeded in sneaking out of the manor a second time. You're late. I was beginning to think you wouldn't come. I was expecting your friends. If you're expecting your friends, I'm afraid they're not coming. Father, how did you... What do you mean they're not coming? I had known that some miscreants were cavorting in these parts, but to think they'd dare consort with my daughter. Well, you needn't worry about them anymore. They're food for the fishes now. How could you do this, Father? Why must you torment me so? Did you miss the fact that he just murdered people? And admitted to it? Know your place, gal. You're a means for our family to gain influence, and I won't have you sullying yourself with riffraff. Did we start playing Crusader Kings 3? Nice camera shot, by the way. You will not leave your chambers save with my permission, nor will you disobey me again. If you do, there will be severe consequences. Am I understood? I said, am I understood? To hell. What did you say? I like that he had a moment to recognize what was about to happen. I said, go to hell! We don't know, Omega Legion. To think it would be so exhilarating to speak my mind, to do as I please. No more living in a cage. From this moment I am free, free as the wind. The young woman struck out on her own, and in her travels discovered her true calling. Not in the halls and lords of ladies, but on the battlefield. She became a force of nature, famed for her striking beauty which belied a terrible savagery. And with this new life she also claimed a new name, Barbaricia. I mean, he totally deserved to die. He would literally confess to murder. Indeed, she found her freedom, but did she also find happiness, I wonder? I suppose I'll never know. Nor does it matter, for the world it once was no more. Oh, goodness me, I better rejoin the others. Yeah, she went to the gym and got some hair, if you know what I mean. Oh my god, they're growing. They found me. I don't know how, but they found me. Run for it, Marty! No, I'm well aware, Talia. Although I'm missing one. I think it's from Lydia. Quick, quick. Must get away. Must flee. What a refreshing breeze. I'm church and the others. They should come here. Would you look at this beautiful boundless sky? Mortals take to air from here, do they not? Would that I had wings to soar amongst the clouds myself. But we voidsent are not wont to roam, you see. The mightiest among us carve out domains, while the rest labor to stay in their good graces. Now, the master of a domain seldom ventures outside, for it is in one's territory that one is strongest. For some, however, such confinement proved trying, as was the case for a certain voidsent I know. Oh yeah, that's another thing. We killed the Cloud of Darkness in her own domain, just to flex on that for a minute. I speak of the free-spirited terror, Barbaricia. When she first established her domain, she whiled away the days waiting for her minions to bring her prey. The ether master in these offerings was devoted to the singular pleasure of caring for her silky, flowing locks. The resources of her domain are not without their limits. It was only when none other remained to oppose her that she realized she was a prisoner in her own domain. And unless she broke free, she would inevitably wither away, alone. Not knowing what to do, she had fallen into the depths of despair when the hand of salvation came to pull her out. At this rate, my precious hair will frazzle and fray. Had I only the strength to leave my domain. If strength is your desire, that is easily granted. Who are you? Ah! So much power surging through me. And what will you do with it? What is it you desire? What I desire is... Yeah, I was thinking that too, Omega Legion. You would move your domain. Impressive. I could do such a thing. What have you done to me? I granted you ether, nothing more. It was your will that made it possible. My will. Even so, no matter where you should go, there is naught but darkness. What could your destination possibly be? Destination? I have no need of such. I wish but to be free like the wind. In a world that met its end, rare indeed is the soul who desires freedom so ardently that she can will her domain to move. Recognizing this quality, the knight would grant her more power and a place of command in his mighty army. A story worthy of our bargain, I trust. I might have had more to tell you had I not fallen off her domain. It seems you mortals also have a fondness for flying. I took to try riding one of those airships of yours. But perhaps another time. Mother cells will be a blubbering mess if I don't hurry and rejoin them. Bloop, 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 bloop. No! I can't get away. Must Resist! Ah! Damn you. Damn you, maniacs, all to hell. I have to do it. I have to kill all of us! We must all die to end this nightmare. And that's the day I became a Dark Knight. The way the sky changes colors with the passage of time. It's probably a mundane thing to you, but to me it's a marvel. I dare say I won't soon grow bored of this world. I forgot how bad the Dancer Dash is. Thank you so much for finding me. I hope the knowledge I had to share was worthy of our agreement. Yes, you told me about Scrimiglione and Barbarisha. My other selves are lived quite desperate lives, both as mortals and Voidsent. Though I suppose it's rather fortuitous they crossed paths with such powerful Voidsent. But more importantly, what they could offer was worthy of our bargain. For that I'm glad. All that remains now is for us to rejoin and become whole again. Blurp, blurp, blurp. Huh? Is this not all of me? There can be no other explanation. There's still more of me lost out there. Somewhere. I don't sense them. Where could they have gone? I mean, there's more of them wandering about. By the sisters! At the very least, if what you say is true, they pose no threat to the people. Unlike the others, until the others can be found, we will keep these 5 under our care. We have time to look for more of them in about 4 months. Uh-oh. There's a cat. There's a cat boy in his underwear. Wait, that's a bunny boy. There's a bunny boy in his underwear. Look, bunnies, cats, they're the same thing. For real, did they nerf the distance on this? Because that really is a very short dash. Like, watch the distance here. In 15 seconds. Hi, Yura. Look at that. It's just, wow. Alright, whatever. I accept. Don't go falling to pieces now. God. And yeah, we have 3, I want to say, charges. Yep, 3 charges at this point. I really don't want to do this, but I think I'm going to call it here for my lunch break. And I'm just going to go lay down. I'm sorry. I am just so tired. So, I will be back when I get up.